because you're not doing something to them sexually or physically. But you're tinkering with them and causing them issue emotionally and psychologically. Yeah, that's kind of difficult. I understand that, but we put it on the table. That's SuperMex Nation. That's the nature of who I am, even in a show like this, right? Not too lighthearted, but serious issues. But be careful, because just because you're not doing something to them tacitly, openly, overtly, touching, feeling, trying to sexually take advantage of them, you may be doing things to them that you're not aware of, and you have to make yourself aware by watching movies like this. Reading. Oh yeah, what's that, ladies and gentlemen? Read? Read stories? What the hell? Read? Read. Learn. Educate yourselves, guys, so that you're not the guy that gets caught or busted for doing something you shouldn't be doing with women. Okay, there we go. That was number 8. Movie was Bombshell. Charlize Theron, Nicole Kidman, in no particular order, and Margot Robbie. Great flick. We went to the theater to see it. I went with my daughter and my wife, side by side. So my wife knows about that. My daughter needs to learn about that. Balance, gentlemen. If you don't have a daughter, a wife, a mother around you to educate you on these things, make the effort on your own. Listen to me here and go out and educate yourselves on what is not and what is acceptable with women. Okay, number 8. That was 8, Bombshell. Number 7. So we're going to get into some like super obvious ones. Want to watch this about a week and a half ago. Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, the culmination and the end of a 9-part series of movies going back to 1977, I believe, and a wrap-up, in effect. So I won't get too squirrely into the weeds here. It did the job. It gave you big budget, cool special effects, action sequences, story, emotion, loss, anger, hate, and then at the end, hope. A little bit of hope at the end. That's never a bad recipe, right? So, like most Lucasfilms, and even though it's now, we're Disney now. Disney now owns the Star Wars canon. It still gives you what I would say, the very first Star Wars movie that I saw when I was a little boy gave me, a sense of hope going forward. A little campy, a little cheesy, but it fits the bill, fits the need. And yeah, you can never get enough space cool stuff. And I'll say it, the most singularly unique thing about Star Wars, watch this, I'm going to be a little bit of a goon with my guy friends and maybe even the ladies if you're so inclined. But let's face it, up until that time, the concept of the lightsaber and that type of combat, there was nothing like it. There really was not anything like it. I mean, what little boy doesn't go running around the room like, zoom, zoom, doing his little sound and his noises and whatever, and until we can get to an actual lightsaber, there was nothing like it. And there was a whole bunch of other stuff that there was nothing like when it came to the George Lucas, universe. But it has all of it. It has all of it. Great combat scenes, great lightsaber battles. The lightsaber battle with Rey and Kylo Ren, on the old Death Star. I'm giving away a little bit here. In the ocean. That was a crazy cool scene. I really liked that. That was I'm not the expert here, but I got to appreciate the work done on the camera part and the people shooting, these images and these scenes. I mean, that had to be a lot of damn work and some finesse work. It was really, really cool. And then a whole bunch of other that went beyond that. So, some discrepancies that I don't want to get too egg-headed on you, but yeah, I had a couple issues with some of the story lines and how they didn't totally mesh. But you get what you get, and it fits the need. So Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, is it worth it? Absolutely. Absolutely. And so here's what I have said. I've been a big fan of The Mandalorian. I've already told you guys all that. We will do an end-of-year wrap-up for television. But what they've done is they've wrapped up that part of the Star Wars universe, and now it frees them up with the clean slate, tabula rasa, a clean slate to go forward and create. and do whatever the hell they want in the Star Wars universe, because the Star Wars universe is so comprehensive and deep, there really is no limit to what they can put forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, be prepared, because there's no limit to how many movies they can put out. Movies, big budget movies that they can put out till we're all dead. No question. There's just no limit. The material's there, the content's there. It's just never going to be ending. All right. So, simple and obvious. Number 7, Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. Like the finish. A little sad, but hopeful when it was all over and done. Hopeful when it was all over and done. And I will say this, last bit, a little Daisy Ridley. The little girl grew on me. She kind of grew on me over the course. I was like, the first one that came out, like, what? No Leia hairdo, none of that. I'm like, what the hell? But she grew on me. And she grew on me. And, she proved herself more than capable of filling that role and fleshing the role out in character at the very end, revealing who she was and her backstory, her, the intent of her character. So I will probably watch movies with Daisy Ridley just because I know she's in them. I was slightly impressed over the time in the 3 movies that she did. I think she's a decent actress. I think she's going to be a damn good actress over a long period of time. Okay, number 7, that was Star Wars. Number 6, and some of you would probably want this a little further up on the list, but I've got my rationale, my reasons. Avengers Endgame, the biggest blockbuster, and it literally is a blockbuster. That's not an overused term here. The biggest blockbuster movie, spectacle, escapade, a whole bunch of other cool words for $5. The world and the universe have ever seen, because it was universe spanning. And, it's not that I didn't like it. It's that I knew what it was, and I knew what it was going to be, and it was the culmination and of all the not always all the Star Wars, but interesting enough, if you have Disney Plus, you get all of the Star Wars movies and you get all the Avengers movies. There's a reason. Anyway, so Avengers Endgame wrapped up all of the Marvel Universe movies going back now a number of years that all fit in sequence with each other to wrap up with Avengers Endgame. And I got to tell you, that was impressive. That was extremely impressive how they rolled out all of these different movies, Thor, Iron Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain Marvel. For years now, they've been rolling out this sequence of Marvel Universe movies. Big budget of their own, and in many ways, they've made a lot of money doing that. But they all led sequentially to and finalized, culminated in Avengers Endgame. I think that's kind of cool. Somebody was doing their work, somebody was doing their homework, and it synced all of the Marvel Universe in one direction. And I will say this, they wrapped up a lot of loose ends. There are some little things, I don't want to get too nitpicky here, but I would say Marvel did a better job of tying up all the loose ends of all of the movies, probably better than Star Wars did. I'll definitely say that. And maybe that's why I have them a little bit higher, maybe. But it was that good. It had everything you could ask for. I mean, come on, the battle scenes, the fight scenes, the cool whatever. It's about as big budget, action flick, CGI, and everything else, every other eye, that you can get in movies, in theater, in film, the film industry. It was like all of it. And it is the highest grossing individual movie of all time, and growing, still growing, and worldwide. So I'll leave this little last cheese point here. Cool scene. When Captain America picks up Mjolnir, the other weapon of Thor, and Thor runs with the new one that he had just created, the axe, and Mjolnir is the hammer, the traditional hammer that Thor's had in comics going back to when I was a little boy and I used to read Thor. Or before it began that, Journey into Mystery with Thor. Yeah, didn't know that, huh? I used to read those. So really like that. That was cool because the hammer, it's supposed to be like you're super powerful, super strong. If you're a regular human, you can't wield it. Captain America, it's about the quality of your heart and the quality of who you are as a person. If you're pure of heart, you can wield the hammer. So it's not just about how big a bicep you are, or how godly you are. It's your purity of heart and your intent, and therefore you can wield the hammer. And then lastly, you know, as it wrapped, I'm still kind of like, I'm going to hurt some people's feelings here, and I don't care. This is where you do the top 10 list, right? So you can disagree on some things. I didn't care that Robert Downey Jr. died as Iron Man. I was like, oh, well, somebody's got to die. You know, I'm a Robert Downey Jr. fan, I was never a Robert Downey Jr. fan as Iron Man. That's another time. I've already done that on another show. If you really want to know why, message me, I'll tell you. All right, I've got my reasons, and when I'm done with you, you're just like, oh, okay. Yeah, I get it. Anyway, so that one didn't break me up. I think if it did bust me up, it was when, Spider-Man was killed in the one before. I was like, oh, man, I like that little kid, and then he comes back, right? So anyway, all good, all ends well. They wrap up everything. Everything goes forward. Everything is restored, even though it probably shouldn't have, because the timeline is a little altered and not quite square. And anyway, don't want to get too goony on you, but great movie, big budget. It is worth the look. It is long, but it is a lot of content and a lot of material, a lot of story. And it is, again, the wrap-up of years of Marvel movie making in the Marvel Universe. And it is worth the watch, quite literally. Okay, number 6. So I've done all those, right? Like, wait a minute, the big budget stuff. So let's get down as we get into this final 5 here. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break. KP, if you can buzz me a break, give me some music. And then we're going to get ready for our final 5. Hey, listen, by the way, so if you're watching tonight, as usual, we've been doing this. I'm giving out all the movies, and the CDs are going out this week, the new year, for all of you guys that have won awards, prizes on SuperMex Nation, my specials. So if you're watching tonight, I will give you a movie of choice off this list. If you watch, you list all 10, and let's just say if you haven't won already or you're new, that's where I want to give somebody a movie off this list. I'll send it to you directly. Okay, so we're going to take a break. Don't leave. It's going to be a few minutes. We're going to come back and finish in our final 5, the top 5 movies, SuperMex's top 5 movies of the year. We'll be right back. Okay, what am I at, 40? Okay, not too bad.
I saw you sitting there across the room, your black leather jacket and your cowboy boots, a shot of whiskey and a cigarette, the kind of night you know you wake up and regret. Eyes meet and you make your way over, one kiss closer to another hangover. Another shot of you and suddenly the room stands. Do you wanna come over? We can finish what we started. We're running in the morning. You can be my Johnny Walker. Feeling kinda heavy, a little unsteady, 'cause I'm one kiss closer to another hangover. It was here we go again, soon as you walked in the damn girl jeans and hey boy grin. You were working hard, working it to work on me. I threw some cash down and bought a few drinks. Eyes locked in and you make your way over, one kiss closer to another hangover. Another shot of you and suddenly the room stands. Do you wanna come over? We can finish what we started. We're running in the morning. You can be my Johnny Walker. Feeling kinda heavy, a little unsteady, 'cause I'm one kiss closer to another hangover. headed in the morning. You can be my Johnny Walker. Feeling kinda heady, a little unsteady, 'cause I'm one kiss closer to another hangover.
Okay, I had a chance to look at the feed because I don't have to do music and get off my Facebook here. Guillermo, 2019, not the decade. The decade's coming, homeboy. The decade's coming. I'm going to do that too, but this is just 2019 specifically. And if you look at the movies, you'll see that they are. Okay, so we are back, and we are down to our final 5 movies that I recommend of 2019, headed into 2020. In other words, go back and take a look at these movies. They're worth the watch, if not in the quality of movie itself, meaning standalone and individually the movie, but for cultural content and for context within our society. There are movies that ring a bell all over the country as to who and what we are and what people are watching, etc. Now, I'm not a fair weather guy, and I'm like, okay, everybody's watching this, so we have to go watch it. I don't do that. By far, no. There are movies on here that not everybody will watch. There are movies on here that are too damn long, or too damn, like, they'll say boring, right? Kids especially, that's boring. They won't watch it. It's, as usual with the SuperMex's list, it's a mix of a lot of different things. This one, I will say, is more about, commercial. Do with that what you will. But it is about movies that came out that I think you should go take a look at for different reasons. Some of them, like the last 2 we just named, the last couple that we named, Star Wars and Avengers Endgame. I mean, those are box office, big budget flicks, and they have a lot into those movies. So yeah, you should take a look at them. They are culturally some of the most powerful movers in the industry and in the world when it comes to film and filmmaking, art, and movies in general. Okay, so but that's not all of them. So anyway, so 2019. Here's our list for the final 5 movies that I've got that I'm recommending you go out and take a look at as we head into this new year and this new decade Okay, so number 5, and I was just sprechen Sie a little bit with KP here. The Lighthouse, number 5, The Lighthouse. Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. As KP reminded me, the new Batman and the old Goblin. The old Goblin. It's true. That is true. I was chuckling about that. But I will give the little dude credit. He ain't just a vampire anymore, right? This, by itself singly, if you just view it from the perspective of a viewer watching 2 actors, because it is almost entirely just these 2 actors in the movie and their relationship and discussions, conversations, partying, having fun, eating, dining, all of it. It's just these 2 guys. That's it. It's just these 2 guys. And so you get the full spectrum of acting. And again, as KP reminded me, in a good reminder, that, when you're around a guy like a Willem Dafoe, an actor like Willem Dafoe, ladies and gentlemen, you probably have no choice but to up your damn game, right? You got to be better. You better be better, or you're going to look like a damn fool. And I will say adequately that Robert Pattinson definitely, not the same actor that I know as a little boy guy, the cutesy guy that girls like, right? I mean, the dude, he was acting, and he was putting and working on, the craft and the skill across from a chameleon of an actor, a guy that's literally done everything you could possibly imagine in at least 4 to 5 decades of acting in movies, film, television, you name it, he's done it. Willem Dafoe. Platoon. I mean, I can go on and on. Willem Dafoe is just a phenomenal actor in general. Guy like that, man, you want in your project, if you have the ability to put together a movie, have a guy like him, he immediately makes the project better just because he's in it. That simple. because the quality of what he does raises the quality of everybody around him. And this is clearly the case. So just real quick about The Lighthouse. It was actually, I've seen it it's billed as a horror flick. And I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah, I get that. Okay, because what we know as horror and what would have been known as horror back in the 19th century is not the same as we know now, because we're so desensitized to ugly things, evil things, right? We've seen so much. And it ends up being like, well, that's a horror flick. But when the damn movie finishes, you're like, oh, man. It leaves you a little like off kilter, like weirded out, freaked out. If you're a younger person, like, man, that was weird. What the hell was that? Yeah, it kind of is a horror flick. But it delves deep into the psyche and the potential move to insanity on the part of individuals isolated and forced to just be with each other in an uncomfortable, unlikely, or weird setting. That's what this movie is. It's weird. It's freaky. It's kind of creepy. It's creepy. That's a good one. It's a little creeper. But it's a hell of a flick in terms of the acting intent on the part of the two actors in the film. And again, it's almost entirely just the two actors and no one else, nothing else. Shot in black and white on a 35mm camera. It takes you to a different place and moves you in a different way than what you would normally see in other flicks. It's a damn good movie. It's a weird, creepy movie that you need to take a look at. If you want to be scared, but not scared like, hey, I'm going to go watch Friday the 13th. You want to be scared and freaked out, this is a damn good movie to do it with. Check this movie out. It was worth the watch. Definitely worth the watch. And I think it's about out now on rental, Redbox, etc., all the other things. So Willem Dafoe, Robert Pattinson, The Lighthouse. Great movie. It's my number 5 for 2019. Moving on. Number 4. You're going to like this. Of all the superhero flicks that I watched this year, and there were a lot of them. There were a lot of them. There's been a lot of them. This one kind of shocked me the most and moved me the most because it made me feel like a little kid again. It made me feel like I felt when I was a kid. And not all these other superhero movies are doing that for me anymore. Number 4, Shazam. It's alternately funny, saddening, takes a look at being orphaned, not having parents, finding place in society, finding place in your own high school setting. It's adoption. A mom and a dad that adopt multiple children from multiple backgrounds, multiple ethnicities, multiple racial identities, multiple locations, and they're just a good set of parents doing good work, doing God's work by adopting kids that need parents. And it's a social look, quietly, underlying the superhero stuff. And I really like that. I thought that was really cool. It's about loneliness and not having place or position in a society as a young person. High school. Now, how many of you out there understand that? I do. I did. I knew that. And this one, in a weird way, kind of spoke to me there. I know exactly what that kid was like when he was in high school. I was kind of like him, actually, in some not good ways. And then, of course, the cool action stuff, and a lot of you guys don't know the story of Shazam, and the old comic. We know more about Superman. And by the way, Shazam on an equal footing in different ways, not like, heat vision to heat vision, because he has different things. But he has, Shazam in his own way is equally as powerful as Superman. Equally as powerful as Superman. That's Shazam, because he's a culmination or a composite of all of the positives of our past. Hercules, there's the speed of Mercury, the strength of Hercules, the wisdom of Solomon, the name Shazam. Each of the letters stands for an aspect of ancient mythology and the power of those individuals. Composite is Shazam. So, and then at the very end, the cool little twist that I didn't know was coming. I won't give that away, but you got to watch it. It's funny, It's a cool story. And I'm going to say it. It went under the radar. It was a good movie. But right now, Marvel's kicking DC's butt when it comes to movies because of Avengers Endgames and things like that, right? But individually, DC, the other big brand of comics, Marvel Comics, DC Comics, DC has done it right, not the way Marvel did it, but they've always done it right individually. Bottom line, Superman, the very first Superman with Christopher Reeves, that was DC. DC superhero Superman was the very first big budget superhero movie. Think about that. Superman. The one from the 70s into the 80s, that's Superman. That was DC, not Marvel, not Marvel. Okay? And then fast forward to the Batman series with Michael Douglas, not Michael Douglas, I'm bubbling here for a second. First Batman. Keaton, I'm sorry. There he goes. Michael Keaton. The first Batman, Michael Keaton, to what I thought was like the gold standard for how to act a superhero, Christian Bale. I mean, I love Christian Bale. He's a phenomenal actor. I love that guy. Okay. Batman was the series of movies. Okay. And so DC individually, watch this, I'm imparting some wisdom for you. DC individually has done it right per movie, but not collectively as a whole for their universe of movies. They're trying to now. Marvel's kicking their ass in that. That's a fact. Obviously, Avengers Endgame and the sequence of sequential movie making. But I think that DC has the ability to do so because DC's catalog of superheroes is as impressive and big and varied and as capable as Marvel's. That's a fact. It's Superman. I mean, you got Spider-Man on the other side, Iron Man, Thor, etc., but there's Superman. And there's Batman. I mean, come on. Their superheroes are it. Marvel's are not better. They can be equal, as good, depending on how they're portrayed, depicted, but they cannot be better than Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, etc. They can't. They can't. That's just, we're going back decades now. We're going back to the 30s and 40s, baby. Long time ago, okay? So I do think that time's coming. I'm slipping in Shazam because it's a damn good movie. It's just a really good movie. And I'm going to tell you, kids, younger people than me, my kids and younger loved it. It was like cool. They related to it. They understood it. And that's the story that needs to go along with being a superhero, with great responsibility, the great power, etc., vice versa, okay? You got great power, you own the responsibility. So anyway, Shazam, it's funny, it's a social look, it's a lot of different things, but it is easily worth the price of admission to go check it out. Now you get it on, price of admission at home. So Shazam, my number 4 for 2019. Moving along. Number three, ladies and gentlemen, ladies, I'll be real clear, not cryptic, like the C's. Real clear, not cryptic. It's a guy flick, man. I mean, come on. That's a guy flick like a mug, all right? And I'm a guy's guy. John Wick, Parabellum, the third installment of the John Wick franchise now, and kind of the wrap-up. I don't think it's going to be a wrap-up because of the way it ended. We'll see. But I'll say this too, and I think I've said this before on my air and with SuperMex's Nation, all of you guys that have followed and watched. I'm a sucker for Keanu Reeves. I love this dude. I think he is not just underrated, and even that's kind of a stretch, but this guy's really unappreciated in scope of what he's done. Okay, you're not going to sit there and tell me he's Richard Burton or he's this or that, Anthony Hopkins, in the dramatic traditional acting sense, right? But when it comes to the movie making industry and business, this is probably a guy you want to begin and end with in terms of who you cast as your number one guy. And by the way, he can do a lot of other things. I won't forget Knock Knock a couple years ago. That was a crazy movie. That was a damn good movie. He can act. The guy can act. But what do you do if someone came to you and said, I could make you a 3-time Oscar winner, or you could be Neo and John Wick? What do you do? I was like, I'm going with Neo and John Wick. Okay, so And by the way, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, right? Theodore Preston Esquire. He has held and done some really hellaciously good roles. All right, and yeah, the guy is like a factory in a font for just good stuff that you know you're going to get out of it. Movies. This is what you go to watch movies for. The knife scene in the first segment, the first quarter of the movie was badass. I'm kind of a hand-to-hand guy for combat. I was like, oh yeah! I kept, my wife was getting, after we watched it, and then I came back and we got it on, I watched it on at home too. I've seen it multiple times now. I kept rewinding going back because I wanted to see the fight scene again, especially the knife scene. The knife scene in that backroom store, right? Oh man, that was crazy. So the action sequences are amongst the best in the industry right now with what they're doing, the way he's trained and all the stuff he's got to do. By the way, the dude's my age, a little older. He's in his 50s now, still kicking that ass, right? So John Wick, Parabellum, the gold standard for kick-ass action flicks, big budget action movies. John Wick, third one, definitely worth the watch. Go watch all three of them. Try to watch all three of them back to back to back. That'd be fun. That's a marathon. That'd be a good little party to do. So anyway, number 3, straight-laced, ladies and gentlemen, just telling you right now, straight-laced, that's a guy flick, a serious dude flick, and definitely a dude flick if you like combat, you like fighting. John Wick, Parabellum, that is my number 3. All right, down to the last 2, and we're moving along pretty decent here. I won't keep you all night. We're almost done. I went rounds here because I was like equally moved by both of the movies at the top of my list here in different ways, but equally, okay? And the one thing that I'll say about my number 2, and there are a lot of lists that this is number 1 on, by the way. Definitely in terms of virtuoso performance and the craft of acting as an actor. But there are a lot of lists that this movie is number 1 on. It's my number 2, but I have a reason for that. We'll get to that in a second. But my number 2 is The Joker, Joaquin Phoenix. And, no coincidence. I told you, most of you guys know, if not now by now, you do know. If you don't know, now you know. I'm kind of a comics goon. I grew up on them. That was like my world. I wanted to be a superhero growing up because I was little, skinny. I wasn't very big, powerful, strong, and I wanted to be a superhero when I grew up, like a lot of young people do, like a lot of young boys do, if they're not the biggest, fastest, strongest guy out in the field, right, or in the classroom. But it's a superhero flick, not like that, but it is a DC Comics character, and it is a fundamentally different look at the traditional super villain, which, by the way, the Joker is, going back 7-8 decades, has been the quintessential supervillain, even though technically he has no superpowers other than a deviously fiendish, brilliant mind. So here's one thing about the Joker. There are no action sequences. There's no fighting. There's no this or that. There's none of that. It's almost like a biopic on just this character, this person, this individual. Incidentally, you have Robert De Niro in the movie as one of the main characters. Joaquin Phoenix individually, and this is why, I remember telling KP about this a while ago when I first saw it. I'm like, the one thing that struck me when I walk out of the theater was not just the social commentary, the message that is current right now in our society, things going on in our society right now as a whole that are not good, ladies and gentlemen, that are not good. This is a microcosmic look at some of the ugly things in our society that are going on right now. It adequately depicts some of the ugly underbelly of what America is. Let that resonate with you as I speak to you, looking at you. All right? It really is. It is an ugly look at our ugly underbelly as America. No fight sequences. The entire movie is about the individual, meaning like in appearance and visual. Joaquin Phoenix is like in front of the camera almost the entire time. It isn't about anybody else. It's about this, about what this guy is and what he's becoming, who he is, how he's thinking, where he goes with his thought to finish and culminate, and some ugly things. Just as an aside, and I really want you guys to go take a look at this. And don't do it because it was a box office winner, right? Don't just do it for that. The look at social services and help for low-income individuals with drugs and drug prices. Yeah. You hear that enough on TV, don't you? This takes a bit of a look at that, and I won't say bit to dismiss or diminish the amount of time and effort they put into it, but an adequate and a really incisive look at an individual who needs a type of drug or prescription prescribed by social services and parts of our government that are meant to help people in need that are being cut, that are being removed from the average American. And they can't live a regular life because they lack these fundamental things to their existence. Sound familiar? Because that's all us right now, baby. That is us right now. And you get, and that's just part of the movie, by the way. That's just a slice of the movie. That's just a slice. Income inequality, disparity in educations, the look at social services, mental health. It's all here. It's all wrapped in one nice, tight little package that when you open up, it's like an assault on the senses, at least the intellectual senses, for what you get out of this movie. I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to watch it probably 2 or 3 times because there's a lot there that I talk about on our shows, by the way, on our intellectual shows, about what's going on in America. This is a look at it, okay? And I will say it. You don't know, you really don't know, who wins Best Actor, etc. I do believe that, Joaquin Phoenix is in that look for Best Actor for his performance. And there are some others, that I've seen this year that are quality. And you don't know. I'm not going to say that's clearly that much better. But his performance is like, I won't give too much away here, but Joaquin Phoenix has become one of the best actors in Hollywood, period. Through his diversity of roles, his ability to carry a movie individually. Again, Joker is almost uniformly all Joaquin Phoenix, the entire flick. And it's a couple hours at least. All right? So it's worth it. But more importantly, he gives a hell of a performance as an actor, visually, viscerally, not just in words and diction, but in his physical manifestation of the character. Was badass, was just absolutely badass. And you have to watch the movie to understand what I'm telling you. That's why I'm recommending that you go see it, because you have to see him perform. What is performance? Oh, I'm going to say these lines that I was given. What do you do in the pause between the lines? What do you do when there are no lines? What do you do when you're just performing physically for the camera? The dude had it all right? He had it all right. He had it all right. And it's a hell of a look at a traditional character that we've known a lifetime, most people, most Americans, most in general. And he definitely laid down, the stamp of who he is as an actor on this particular role. It's worth it to see him dance down the steps, man. It was funny. It was good stuff. Okay, so that's my number 2. So here's number 1, and I wrestled with this one hard. I knew that it was like, I liked it that much immediately. And I was walking out there. I actually could have walked back in and watched it again. But there's so much there. There's so much going on. And there's so much underlying the movie about something that I'm familiar with, that I like taking a look at and wanting to know more about. A topic, an era, a period, a piece in history, etc. All of that, because I'm a history guy. You guys know that. But, I mean, it could have been number 2 or 3, and the other could be 1 or whatever, but I just couldn't get away from it. After thinking about it all these last few weeks as we got ready for this particular show, as I was putting my list together, I liked it. I couldn't move it. I couldn't move it. I was like, I couldn't when I put all the parts together, all the moving parts, it just kept jumping off the page at me, off my screen, and telling me that this was my favorite movie of the year. It was my favorite movie of the year. The movie is Jojo Rabbit. Jojo Rabbit. And you have, it was recent. It wasn't like earlier in the year. It was like the last couple of months that it came out. And you've got, aside from this kid, right, this little kid, he was flanked and blanketed by, Scarlett Johansson, who I've got a crush on, and Sam Rockwell, who's really, a phenomenal actor. Sam Rockwell's a damn good actor. I don't think people really get that about that dude, man. He's just a hell of an actor. And you even have the, what's her name, the big guy. You got the, what's her name? Rebel Wilson, yeah. You had a crazy cast of characters blanketing and surrounding this little boy. And last name's Davis, Griffin Davis. What's the first name? I can't remember. Darren, is it something like that? Griffin Davis. Little kid, right? The story is set in Nazi Germany. So there you go. So you guys finish up with this number one. Nazi Germany and World War II is the most covered topic, subject in the history of mankind. Period. Punta. There's no debate there. It is. Okay, that's the single most covered, talked about, and most written about, movied about, everything you can name it, is World War II and Nazi Germany. So here's the trick. If you're going to do a movie about Nazi Germany and World War II, you better be pretty damn good, because it's already been kind of done, if you get my point. It's been kind of done a lot by a lot of people in Hollywood over a lifetime going back to 1940s, even then, right? So if you're going to do Nazi Germany, if you're going to do World War II, then you better be coming at it with a different perspective or a different look or a different concept, a different thought, different idea, issue, policy, etc. Because otherwise you're just another one of the thousands of stories told about World War II and Nazi Germany. And this one was that. Okay, now I'm going to say that. I'm saying that, putting it out there. I'm a former history teacher. I'm not the most premier expert on World War II and Nazi Germany. By far, no. I know exactly what I don't know. That's where the brilliance lies for me. I know what I don't know. But I do know more than most of the population when it comes to the topic of history, World War II, Nazi Germany, etc. And I've not quite seen a movie like this. Not. About this particular topic, this particular piece in our history, in the human tapestry. I've not seen, and I definitely have not seen a little kid play an 11-year-old little dude doing that kind of business. Never. Not. And that's why, so I'm going to go out on a limb here. I would like to see the lead actor in this movie nominated for a Best Actor Oscar. I really would. I really would. Because, now think about this, because what did I just say about the Joker? And I'm fairly certain that if it hasn't, are they out already, Oscar nominations? Okay, so okay, oh that's right, you're right. So Golden Globes are. But I'm fairly certain that Joaquin Phoenix is going to get a Best Actor nomination for the Joker. I'm almost positive of it. I'd be surprised if he didn't. So, for the same rationale and the same reason I just said about the Joker, where Joaquin Phoenix was almost entirely the movie. His face, his personality, his character, his depiction was the entire movie. This little kid was the movie, Jojo Rabbit. It was him from beginning to end. The movie begins with him, stays with him, runs with him, is him, and finishes with him at the very end. It's him. This kid carried that flick. And not carried disparagingly in a way that says, oh, Sam Rockwell didn't have a pretty damn cool performance, by the way, because he did. That Scarlett Johansson didn't pull off her job as the mother, the Nazi mom that was actually a sympathizer for Jewish people that were being killed. Easy word. But all those pieces around them were all components to the heliocentric version of him being the son, S-U-N, and the son of this mom, S-O-N. The kid was the movie. This little dude was the movie. And you got to get why he calls Jojo Rabbit. I won't give you that here. But he made me laugh. Real deal. Kid made me laugh. Kid made me choke up. Kid made me think about place and position for an 11-year-old in Nazi Germany in the Hitler Youth. His buddy Yogi, the other little kid, because you have little kid partners, right? Some of his lines were ridiculously funny. If you catch them because they're fast and they're coming at you, and you better have a little bit of a history mind on you to catch it. It was all there. It was all there. The humanity of it, the dealing with the Nazi eradication of Jewish people in the Third Reich in Germany, all of it. It was all there. That little kid ran the gamut of emotions for me, G-A-M-U-T. That kid, bless you, ran the gamut of emotions for me. And I was impressed. I was impressed. The best little kid performance of the year, for me, period. And I'm going to say it. One of the best acting performances, period, no age, that I saw all year. And ladies and gentlemen, your fault. I'm watching a lot more movies than I used to. Your fault, because I want to be more knowledgeable. But it was that damn good. It was that good. This little dude, you need to go check out. The movie is Jojo Rabbit. Scarlett Johansson, Sam Rockwell, Rebel Wilson, a bunch of other, quality A-list actors, about a little boy, 11 years old, in Nazi Germany, trying to fit in and wrestling with one of the single most divisive concepts and times in the history of humanity, Nazi Germany, and the anti-Semitism of Nazi Germany and World War II. And this little kid did it. And then when it finishes, you're sitting there like, that was kind of cool. That was kind of cool. And you know that things are going to be better. Great message for today and today's climate, by the way. Today's climate. So I'm going on a little bit, but I really, really would like people to go see this. It has a ton of messages that are good for us as a people right now in the current state in which we are as a country. Great messages about understanding people other than yourself. Now, I'm being a little bit heavy here, and I'm laying it on a little bit thick because you need to, but a really powerful messages, not one, but multiple messages about understanding other people unlike yourself, and how the ethical, if not moral dilemma descends on the mind of an 11-year-old child, and how they wrestle with the short-term obvious fitting in and being a part of their subset, their society, the Hitler Youth, Nazi Germany, and the longer-term ethical moral dilemma of what humanity is, and where that ethos of anti-Semitism and Nazi Germany fit in the larger fabric. We all know that now because we have the benefit of history to know. But we better start understanding our history because we're dealing with some of that stuff right now. As I close my show tonight for you, are we not dealing with anti-Semitism? Are we not dealing with racial issues? Are we not dealing with people not understanding the other and therefore assuming inaccurately that there is something wrong with that other? All of the above right now, ladies and gentlemen. Whew, that's a lot, but everything that I've said is true, and you know it's true. There's my top 10 for you. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll have another top 10 list for you. I'll post out tonight on SuperMex Nation. By the way, I've not been good about this, so KP, if you can, post up the SuperMex Nation, SuperMex International YouTube link. I've not been doing this at all, but I'm going to do it to you now because we've done a lot of original content, and I'm working hard and upgrading everything I'm doing with KP and the show. So I need you to go, watch this, I need you to go to my YouTube page. It's really easy. Go to YouTube. All you have to do is punch in SuperMex Nation or SuperMex International, and you're going to get one of my videos. Go to the video, go to my page, subscribe to the page. Like the page, please, if you're so inclined. If you're not, then don't watch, don't listen. Real simple. You got to love choice, right? Got to love America. So go to my page on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, which you could be watching here too because we're on both right now, both platforms. If you're on Facebook, go to Richard Martinez, SuperMex Nation, SuperMex International. Either of those will pop up. SuperMex Nation is a specific closed group that I'm going to begin to grow again, but it is my base of people that believe in who I am, what I do, and my intent on trying to get across messages, my educational side, right? So SuperMex Nation, SuperMex International, on Facebook or YouTube. I need you to go to those. Go to YouTube because we're moving more toward that platform as we grow, as I do more in content and purpose into 2020 as we begin this new year. So I need you guys to do that for me. YouTube page, SuperMex Nation or SuperMex International. That's all you got to punch in, and you're going to see my face on one of the videos that we've done. And it's a whole lot of content that we've got. It's not just fun and games. It's serious issues too, right? So I'm asking you to do that tonight. Again, we are beginning a new decade. I'm looking forward to it. I'm upscaling and doing way more than I've ever done before in this format, and in educating and putting material out for people to learn and to grow. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't stop growing once you become an adult. It should be an ongoing, never-ending thing. You should be growing intellectually, if not socially, till the day you die. And if you're not doing that, you're stagnant. We don't do that here. Mens sana in corpore sano. Sound mind in a sound body. Ancora imparo. Still, I am learning. That means we never stop. We keep going until we're done and we're dead. Okay, we'll be back on tomorrow. Thank you guys for watching tonight. Please like, share out. Again, last call. If you watched the video, if you watched all of it tonight, or go back. Post the 10 movies and someone will win their movie of choice off my list. And I'll send it to you. Probably through Amazon because it's easy. They're not giving me a deal because Bezos doesn't even pay taxes. That guy should be giving me something. Post the 10. I'll pick a winner, and that winner will receive a free movie off my top 10 of 2019. How does that work for you? Last I checked, ladies and gentlemen, free is good. Free is good. No ulterior motive here. All right, that's my show for you tonight. I'll be back on tomorrow. I look forward to seeing you guys. Other than that, you have a great beginning to your new year. SuperMex is out.